I hate when people ask, how are you?
I hate when people ask, how are you? I hate when people ask, how are you? I truly feel like this is a pointless thing to ask considering that most people don't care for an honest response and only expect to hear, fine or good. People sometimes ask this and don't wait for an answer and start walking away before you can respond, or just answer for you and say, how are you? Fine, good, great, so it's no longer a question, but a statement. What is the point of asking that if you genuinely don't care and societal norms has conditioned us to just say fine, even when we're not? I'd rather one say, hey, I hope that you're doing well, as opposed to, how are you? I spoke to someone about this and they basically said it's similar to, good morning, or, happy birthday, you just say it, to say it. Since you guys keep asking, how are you, as a joke, I'm doing that. My sales have been a little slow this week. I got into an argument with my best friend, my YouTube channel isn't growing as quickly as I'd like, and the holidays make me feel out of touch. However, I'm still blessed and highly favored and things will take a turn for the better. Someone accused me of karma farming, which I assume is Reddit's version of clout chasing. I don't know anyone who cares about this app that much, but okay. It's not like karma converts into dollars or even IG followers to where I can get endorsements, fame, and/or success in my future endeavors. I don't hate it that much and shouldn't have used the word hate, it's more so a mild pet peeve when people ask and don't care, that's all. And yes, I'm autistic. English is my second language and I've learned that phrases like that are literally just greetings. They are statements and they are not meant as actual questions, but as a way to not be rude when starting a conversation or approaching a customer. It actually throws me off when people answer the question. The proper response when a sales associate says, hello, how are you, is, hey, how's it going, and to continue walking. Honestly, I think it's great to ask how someone is doing. The problem lies in that society conditions people to have boring, fake answers. If someone were to answer, horrible, my dog ate my grandma's finger, you bet your ass I'd be wanting to ask more questions and talk to someone. If society changes it so that people answer honestly, it may give more space for conversation emo. Or I am just psychotic and overly curious shrugs. Oh no, you're psychotic alright, wanting to actually hear about a person's life instead of feigning interest in someone's life. Bah. I asked my brother's wife, who learned English as a second language, how's it going, and got into a very real conversation. If more people were just real without dumping deep personal details and I'd engage with way more people. America's got a lot of fake people, tie social media. I work at a school doing the COVID contact tracing, and I'm also in charge of literally everything the kids need that teachers don't have resources to figure out, and honestly I'm having a shit time. When parents, coworkers ask me how I am, I respond honestly, not very good. They ask me to expound, and when they do they are often super surprised at the level of stress and frustration I'm at and will actually then be more helpful. I'm a little late to the party but wanted to add on. I own a small retail store in a rural town. I've conditioned my customers to like me and actually talk with me by being super truthful when they ask how I am. It opens up a dialogue, and the next time I see them they either follow up on last visit's discussion or tell me how they really are. I've learned people really do like to talk about themselves and how they are, but since most people don't care to hear it gets stifled. I so wish this would change. I love to talk to people and hear their stories. I'm also nosy though, so that probably plays a part. Nothing worse when you're deep in the shit and you have to say, alright, how about you? Coming from someone with chronic pain and health issues, here's what works for me. Skip the lie and send it back. For example, how are ya doing? Answer with, how are you? Skip the, fine, or, aight, if it was a courtesy intro. They won't answer your question, which also makes it safe to assume they didn't want you to answer it anyway. My true friends know this and will start a conversation, then a minute or three into it, they'll ask how the doctor appointment went, or ask about specific health issues, then I'll get into a real conversation. Otherwise, do not answer this greeting like it's an actual question, makes others uncomfortable. OTOH, if they keep pressing, just throw out, well, today I don't want to kill myself, so I got that going for me, and that tends to shut them up real quick and prove they don't care. So I stopped at a Jack in the Box on the way here, and the girl behind the counter said, "Hiya. Are you having an awesome day?" Not, "How are you doing today?" No, "Are you having an awesome day?" Which is pretty shitty because it puts the onus on me to disagree with her, like if I'm not having an awesome day, suddenly I'm the negative one. Usually when people ask how I'm doing, the real answer is I'm doing shitty, but I can't say I'm doing shitty, because I don't even have a good reason to be doing shitty. So if I say, I'm doing shitty, then they say, why? What's wrong? And I have to be like, I don't know, all of it? So instead, when people ask me how I'm doing, I usually say, I am doing so great. But when this girl at the Jack in the Box asked me if I was having an awesome day, I thought, well, today I'm actually allowed to feel shitty. Today I have a good reason. So I said to her, well, my mom died. And she immediately burst into tears. So now I have to comfort her, which is annoying. And meanwhile, there's a line of people forming behind me, who are all giving me these real judgy looks because I made the Jack in the Box girl cry. And she's bawling, and she's saying, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, it's fine, it's fine. I mean, it's not fine, but, you know, it's fine. And I would like to order a double Jack meal, and I've kinda got somewhere to be, so maybe less with the crying and more with the frying, huh? And the girl apologizes, again, and she offers me a free churro with my meal. And as I'm leaving, I think, I just got a free churro because my mom died. No one ever tells you when your mom dies, you get a free churro. Yes. Every morning, my boss makes his rounds and says, good morning, how's it going? How are things? How are you doing? Every day. If it's Monday, how was your weekend? I have no desire to make small talk while I'm trying to work and it drives me insane. I've started to say, not so good, then I clam up so he stops asking questions. I hate this too. I also get, happy Monday, every week, and I hate Mondays so much I get depressed about it on Sunday. I also hate, have any big plans for the weekend, every Friday. No. The answer is no. It has been no for 10 plus years, because honestly, I don't feel like talking to you about my plans because it is Friday and I want to go home. Now on Monday I have to also be asked, how was your weekend? It never ends. Small talk is the most annoying thing in the world to me. Give me a question I can ponder and we can discuss and use our brains and I am all in. I'm literally the exact opposite. If I hear even the slightest hesitation I will probe just enough so that if you want to talk you can. I literally do it to everyone. Was on a call with a manager in my area, 2 levels up from me. He asked how I was doing and I said I'm hanging in there. I asked him how he was doing and he hesitated and eventually said fine. The hesitation was enough for me to probe a little and we spent 5 minutes talking about his stress and workload. I literally can't even help it. I do it to everyone. In linguistics, a phatic expression, English, feath, phat-ik, is communication which serves a social function, such as social pleasantries that don't seek or offer information of intrinsic value but can signal willingness to observe conventional local expectations for politeness. Phatic expressions are a socio-pragmatic function and are used in everyday conversational exchange, typically expressed in situational instances that call for social cues. 2. In speech communication, the term means small talk, conversation for its own sake, and has also been called grooming talking. 3. For example, greetings such as, hello, how are you, in many contexts, and good afternoon, are all phatic expressions. 4. In phatic expressions, speech acts are not communicative, since no content is communicated. According to anthropologist Bronislaw Malinowski, apparently, purposeless speech acts, polite small talk, like, how are you, or, have a nice day, even though their content may be trivial or irrelevant to the situation, perform the important function of establishing, maintaining, and managing bonds of sociality between participants. Wikipedia. Basically, it's just a social dance of introduction, filling empty communicable space. I wouldn't worry too much about it. Like saying, excuse me, if you pass someone, or an awkward nod when you pass a stranger. I work in healthcare, and dropping the habit of asking, how are you, was one thing that I feel improved my communication skills. I do diagnostic imaging, where I'm supposed to confirm that the patient is having symptoms that are relevant to the test, but I've found that asking them how they are feeling is actually the worst way to ask this. Some people have gotten mad at me for asking. Answer things like, how the F*** do you think I feel? I'm in the hospital. Instead, I say, how come we are performing this exam today? Could you tell me some of your symptoms? Or, can you point to where it hurts? When people ask me how I am, for staff I simply say, good, and don't return the question because if I do it usually goes unanswered. Patients are the only people I will fully answer, good. How are you? But only because they have invited me to return the question by asking it to me first. I agree, and it's a shame. When I go into coffee shops or I'm buying groceries, I always ask the baristas or cashier how they're doing, but I genuinely care. They always look surprised and say, thanks for asking, or, nobody ever asks me that. I wish people cared BC, then we could normalize this behavior, which could actually really make someone's day better. I feel the same way. And you know what I say when I'm not great, fine, and they don't obviously care for a positive answer. I'm here. And if that's what I pretty much say to everyone at work, especially now. This place is royally pissing me off, so I'm not gonna lie to my bosses and CEO and crap, but they will get too offended, take it personal in a bitchy way, if I were blunt, so. I'm here. I agree in that the problem is that Americans don't put any weight and meaning in their words anymore. And I believe it is getting worse and worse. Words are powerful. They can heal. They can cut down. But now we use words devoid of any true meaning and value. Writing a text or comment feels flippant, and of course I am guilty of this too. That's the scariest part to me. I feel attacked. I asked an ex-friend this and she told me to not ask questions where the only two acceptable answers are yes and no, and neither of them are adequate. I didn't realize I had said something that triggered her, and it made me feel so guilty. When I ask the question, how are you, or, are you okay? I hope that a friend can be honest with me. I genuinely am interested in what's going on in their lives if they're not feeling well, because if they're not okay, then I get worried. In this particular case, my question was not taken the way I intended, and it eventually led to the end of our friendship. My mental health is poor at times, if not all the time, but I don't get upset when someone asks me how I'm doing. In fact, responding to someone with, I'm fine, when I'm actually not motivates me to keep my chin up, at least for the time being. Hell, I'll even say, actually not really. I'm going through something, but I know I'll be okay. Thanks for asking. Overall, I lean towards being more open-minded with this question. I understand why it's flawed though in a societal sense, and of course, I agree to disagree. My 5-year-old son died a few years ago and I took 2 months from work to grieve and pull myself together. My coworkers are the type to walk fast through the hallway, fake smile and say, hi, how are you, and just keep walking. You don't even need to answer because nobody really cares. My first day back, a guy was walking through the hall, big fake smile for me, hi, how are you, and kept walking. I was barely holding it together and was so sick of that bullshit I said back, not good. How the fuck you think I am? I just buried my son 2 months ago and you want to pull that fake shit on me? He knew me, what my story was with my kid, but still asked. Did he stop to talk to me about it? Nope, he gave me terrified look and kept walking. This is how 90% of the population is. The other half of that percentage ask just as a greeting or to be polite, and get annoyed when people really tell them how they are. What the hell is wrong with just a genuine, hi? My friend has a system for this. When we get in PS4 parties, he asks how I'm going twice, because he knows that people are always gonna say, great, well or good when asked, but when you ask them a second time they realize you care about how they're going and then answer truthfully. People ask me how I am. I say, I'm fairly decent. No superlatives. Nothing to gossip about. I say, I'm relatively okay. Or, moderately neato. Then they have to ask their children how I am. If I'm in a particularly jaunty mood, I'll look them right in the eye and say, I'm not unwell, thank you. Which pisses them off cause they have to figure that one out for themselves. George Carlin. From A Place for My Stuff. Went to drugstore. Cashier, hey, how are you? Me, hi, I am actually doing very bad, very very bad. Him, what, why, what happened me? I just broke up with someone, I feel like my heart is breaking like a biscuit. Him, oh man that sucks, I know how you feeling. I am currently living with my ex because I was unable to find another place, she brings different guys home every night. I swear I wanna die. Me, wow. At least mine is 3 flights away LMAO. Some people are there in your life for days, some for a season and some for a lifetime. I might be wrong here cause his dialogue was a little longer cause the old lady behind me wasn't impressed by our chat. I remember, me thanks bud. I live in Canada. People are very polite, but this is so far the most honest conversation I had with a cashier. Now whenever cashier asks hey, I just reply credit or Visa. That's something I never understood. For example, I ask people how they are all the time, but I actually want them to explain. I try not to use, how are you, as a greeting. I actually try to start off a conversation from how they're doing honestly. I've had conversations for hours at a time with friends and strangers telling me how they're doing and what obstacles they're facing, etc. I love listening to different people's stories, it can be really interesting sometimes. You should give it a try, bruh. I left my doctor's office after being told I may have cancer. I held it together until I was a few blocks away. I was also out of milk and needed to pick up something for dinner on my way home. I managed to pull myself together and stop crying, but I get all red and blotchy when I cry, so it was obvious what I was doing before shopping. I get to the register, and the cashier says, "How are you today?" I know no one wants a serious answer, but fuck, some situational awareness could go a long way sometimes. Apparently saying, "Really fucking bad, I might have cancer, which is why I look like this," before starting to cry again, is inappropriate in Mormonville. But I'll bet she looks people in the face before she asks stupid fucking questions now. I'd love to have a quick, polite way to indicate, "Hi person. I see you and genuinely hope are okay, but please don't talk to me." Of course, if you're having trouble and there's something I can actually do to help, I'll shove down this stormy feeling of social avoidance. But other than that, I really don't want to chat. But instead I just have a straight smile and a, "Hey," to offer. Really? People don't care about an honest response and don't want to listen to you struggles? How rude. And do they even have a personality and feelings themselves? I love to hear what you are struggling with. Because I like to make my friends feel better and comfort them, or even give them advice, only if they ask for it. I know most people do so, but I've never understood why anyone would ask it and then not be interested and just don't care. I always ask people how they are, and I genuinely want to know how they are. If they aren't doing great, I'd love to be a vent or try and help them out. If they are doing great or okay, good to hear, makes me genuinely happy. It's so important to genuinely ask how someone is, definitely with everything that's going around in the world and with all of the mental issues people often get. That might also just be my surroundings, but it can really help someone out to just know someone cares. Smiley face. I think it's your fault for feeling like you have to answer with good. I genuinely ask people how are they, and the responses I get are different from person to person. The way I see it, how are you is an invitation to share and open up. What you do with the question is up to you. But I do understand some people also ask this question without actual interest. I agree and have definitely put people into awkward situations where I'll be having a shitty day and just unload on them, but now people don't say that as a greeting to me. In fact, after a particularly bad day I have people who genuinely check up on me, so I guess my point is if you just react how you want to, people will pick up on that and adapt. Within reason. This isn't a universal method of change. I went through a serious depression for a lot of my adult life, and every time someone asked this, it gave me a sick feeling in the pit of my stomach. I will absolutely not use this greeting or ask this question unless I'm asking someone who knows me well enough to know that they can unload on me if they're not feeling well mentally, emotionally. Lately, if I come across someone who seems like they are maybe a bit down, or put out energy that concerns me, I stop to open the door to talk. I'll normalize that, being down, if they use the obligatory, "How are you?" and tell them, "Thank you for asking, I appreciate that. I'm overwhelmed and anxious lately. Things are crazy. How are you holding up? Are things okay?" It helps, even just normalizing it, even if they don't open up and vent. I know that on my worst days, it was refreshing to hear sometimes that other people aren't doing great and feeling like the odd one out. Upvoted, because agree, and upvoted cause I'm glad you brought it up. When I was in Ireland, I was very thrown off by people asking, "You alright?" to me. Made me self-conscious, wondering if I looked unwell. or lost. After a while, I realized it's much like our habit of asking, "How are you doing?" in America, except their full attention was on me while I answered. I agree that people shouldn't ask, "How are you?" if they're not going to actually listen to your response. I really only ask that to people I know and would like to speak to for a period of time, because based on their response, I may be listening for a while. Also, I truly make an attempt to actually get people to say how they're doing, especially if their auto response is fine, and I suspect that they are not fine. Asking a follow-up question about them, their health, their well-being generally helps. So, I guess I agree with the basis of your opinion. I don't think it's an appropriate greeting if the asker does not truly want to know. I would encourage people who are asked this question to answer honestly when appropriate, or more deeply than just fine. And I would encourage people who tend to ask this to truly listen to the response. If you don't care to know, then stop asking, "How are you?" I've been answering this with pretty terrible. There is some good in my life, my daughter is a source of endless joy and discovery, and my wife and I are really finding strength in each other. But with COVID killing a few family members recently and money being tight, we are both anxious and scared about the future. I've been struggling with thoughts of self-harm and thinking my life insurance payout could make life easier for my wife and daughter. My dog is doing really well, and walking him a few times a day is a nice reprieve from reality. I built a Lego set recently. How are you? The sister of my best friend committed suicide. No one knew she was depressive until it was too late and couldn't be stopped anymore. Because of that, I sometimes worry a lot about some of my friends, and I am checking daily on them with just a little text, and they know they can answer with what's really going on. Sometimes I really catch them in a situation where they are thankful someone asks. Don't be afraid to answer with what you really feel, at least to good friends. I think it's nice when PPL ask me that. PPL nowadays always looking at phone and forgot their surrounding. For me, it's just a gesture, not like actual question that need to be answered. Sometime, when I have bad day and PPL asking that, I just being honest how shitty my day is, which for some reason relieves some stress. If PPL don't ask this, perhaps it will be hard to start the conversation, cause like I said earlier, PPL always with their phone. I answer honestly, so that people are taken aback by my answer and don't ask me again. Stupid, tired, honestly, not good at all, but how about you? Same old, depressed. In other cases, it makes people wanna ask more, because I like to answer differently, but accurately each time, and some people like to hear what I'll say next. It helps me practice advocating for myself, creates a little humor for myself, be honest, and answers their dumb question with my own dumb answer. I lived in the USA for 6 years and I am from Eastern Europe. I would generally stick to using, "How are you?" as just a greeting, but every once in a while I would be honest and say something like, "I feel like shit today." I love the shocked facial expressions of people not ready to take an early morning honest response. However, being like that, I also made a lot of friends who actually appreciated the break from the norm. It's good to ask, "How are you?" or "How are things?" when you greet someone. Sometimes that is all people need to exhibit signs of needing help. I agree that not everyone will do something, but they might only need for someone to listen to them, and how they feel. Trust me, a few years back I was in Japan and a friend reached out at 3 a.m. She wasn't making much sense, so I figured she was probably just drunk or something. I was just coming back from a bar, so I chatted for a bit before saying that I was tired and if we could pick this up in a few hours when it was morning for me. I woke up to the news that she had taken her life. I've never passed up the opportunity to check on people and follow up with what they say since. They aren't asking how you are. It derives from the Proto-Germanic variants that English comes from and is a greeting, a literal salutation, Wes tu hal. Which could be, erroneously but for simplicity's sake to make it easier to remember, reduced to what you hail. It's Wes hal tu in Anglo-Saxon IIRC, which is probably where wassail comes from. It's an offering of good health. In Commonwealth nations or nations settled by indigenous Europeans, especially English, it is still used as a salutation. Whatever you do, don't tell them how you feel. They don't want an answer, they want an acknowledgement or returned salutation. And never say, fine, or, good, without a thank you at the end of it. Responding to a salutation without a thanks suffix is just ignorant. It is significantly more ancient than any other form of current greeting.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like the video. And if you are new, subscribe and click on the bell icon.